Hey, welcome back to another episode of Adventure World in Godot. Alright, so in this video our goals is to add the backpack to the player so you can visually see it, and to add a progress bar up at the top for his fuel, so a fuel gauge bar. Alright, so a couple housekeeping things first. I tried to update, since I had the repository, I tried to update this to the latest Godot that I had, which was 3.2.1, and it worked, except the player did not behave well at all. His movement was all goobered up. So I may update that in the future, but I wasn't planning on it for right now. Let me know in the comments if you guys want to see the upgrade sooner or later. I could do it at the end of the series, or we could do it after we do the jetpack stuff. So let me know what you guys think, and we'll look into that. My preference maybe is to wait, but it may be more helpful for you guys to use the latest version. Second note, if you notice like some of the odd flickering while we're playing, I don't know if we'll see it here, but I had noticed some flickering. I think I made a comment or two about some of the tiles flickering. Apparently that's a known issue with NVIDIA drivers yeah, there it was, just for a second. NVIDIA drivers in the in here, and so I think there's a fix or workaround. I did a little bit of Googling in the latest version of Godot. So, but it's only, I think, for the GLES2 version of the renderer. So we'll have to see if we want to upgrade to that or not. But I think it will be fixed in Godot 4 with the Vulkan renderer. So anyways, we'll see about that. I think there are some workarounds, but for now we're not gonna worry too much about it. But it is good to know that there's folks out there working on it. Alright, so back into the meat of the content of this video. Let's get started. So first we're going to add the backpack to the player. It actually is not as bad as I thought it would be. But I had to do one little kind of janky thing that I wasn't super thrilled with, but let's take a look. So I'm going to add a sprite, and it went down here at the bottom. That's fine for now. And let's go into art, and then where did I put it? Items, Jetpack. So add that on there. Now, in order to get it behind the player, what do we need to do? Yep, we need to move this up to above the player sprite. So they're rendered from, let's see, bottom to top, or bottom, let's see, top down. And so, yeah. Now you notice the icon for the jetpack is a little big. Doesn't look super comfortable to wear. So let's scale it down. So we'll go to transform, scale, and we can change these to some numbers. Also, if you try and move this, you'll notice I grab other things and I hit Control Z to return that. I don't want to do that. I want to move just that jetpack. So what you can do is, instead of using the pointer, you can use this move, and that'll force you to move instead of select things. So I can't select anything else. All I can do is move around the object that I have. Alright, so there I've moved it into place. Now with the pick, what we did to move it was we scaled it on the x-axis, and so that flips the image. In the case of our jetpack, it's symmetrical, so flipping it's not going to visually help it out any. All we really want to do is move its position. So if we look at the transform on the jetpack, let's change this to jetpack sprite. So if we look at the position on here, we've got this stuff which is not uniform. So this was nice and uniform. Also our scale was 1:1, 1:1. So if we try and alter the scale on this, we're going to get some weird stuff happen. And that's what I tried at first. But then I realized all we really want to do is flip the positive and negative on this. So watch, if I delete that there, it moves to the right, the other side. So if he was facing to the right, or I mean to the left, the jetpack would be in the proper place. Then I'd negate that, and now it's in the proper place when he's facing this way. And that's because our player is symmetrical on that line right there. So all we're going to do is flip the signal of this. So this is roughly 16. Let's just round it out to 16. That still looks good. We're going to take that number and we're going to use that in our script here. So up at the top, here's all our other variables we created. Let's create one more. Jetpack Sprite Spritle location or offset. And that's going to be, we'll just leave it 16. Okay. So now what we need to do is down here in our movement code, just like what we did for the pick. Where is the pick? Looking. Missing it. Oh well. Yeah, I thought I saw it and then I didn't. Anyways, yeah, so let's go ahead and do that. I feel really cramped today on the code window. Maybe it's because my output window is showing here. Maybe that was it, I don't know. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this. So let's find it. So here's in the water, and here is on land. I think what we can just do is add it right here. We'll say if has jetpack. So if he's got that jetpack on, then let's oh no, we'll need this in a second, but what we need first is to do the left and right. So let's go ahead and put it here. So left and right, which is these two buttons, we'll say jetpack sprite dot position dot x equals jetpack sprite offset. Alright, sorry I had a little brain bump there. And then here we'll go with negative. Now I may need to invert these. Let's go ahead and take a look and see how that looks. Yep, I got them totally backwards. So negative on that one, positive on that one. There we go. So now our jetpack looks like he's being worn and properly moves with my player. Perfect. And it should work in the air and stuff too. So yeah, good deal. One thing I noticed is maybe we could scoot it up just a little bit. I kind of set it low. Maybe like that. Not a big deal. You can always play around with that if you'd like. Alright, so there's our player, and there's our jetpack. I'm not with it today. However, as you noticed, it's on his back as soon as we play, even without the pickup. So we need to hide it until he gets the pickup. We could do that over here and just hide it like that, but then we can't see it on our character here, and it's kind of nice to be able to see what he's going to look like loaded down there. So what we'll do is up here in the ready is just like we did with the pick. Let's go ahead and hide the jetpack sprite.hide. Alright, and then when he picks it up, we need to show it. So here we already had this nice convenient if statement for checking to see when he picked it up. Let's go ahead and just add it there. Jetpack sprite.show. Alright, so now it should work when he picks it up. If we wanted to get really fancy, we could even hide it when he's in the water. So when he jumps in the water, we could hide it, and then when he comes out, we could show it. I'll leave that up to you, but it should be pretty easy to implement. You just put that if statement right there. So that should be great. Let's go ahead and test that real quick. So he has no jetpack. Jetpack when I jump. I get the jetpack, and now it's on my back. Alright. Fantastic. And you also see the icon up here for the inventory, which is good. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is let's move on to the progress bar. So to do this, we jump into the HUD canvas layer, and we'll go to our 2D view so we can see it. So I was thinking like right here, we'll stick it. So I need to select the HUD canvas layer. It's not going to be part of either of these containers. It's not part of the inventory or the heart collection. And then let's go to user interface. Wait, before we do that, let's go ahead and right click, add child node. And then let's go ahead and look at what we've got here under control. We've got, if you look through all this stuff, I don't see anything here to do with progress or anything. It's under this range drop down. You've got sliders, scroll bars, but you've also got progress bar, a spin box, and a texture progress. We're going to use this texture progress, but you probably could get away with the progress bar if you didn't care how it looked. Let's go ahead and take a look at that real quick to see what it looks like. So if I drag this out and scale it up a little bit, that's what it's going to look like. And if I set the value, let's set it to like 25, that's how you would see the bar come across. That's actually not too bad, and I think would be fine, but we'll stick with the look and feel of the graphics we're using, which is the Kenny pack. So if I go back under range, you'll notice there's this one called texture progress. Also, while I'm in here, I wanted to point this out. There's another one in here called, I just missed it. Here it is, 9 patch rect. And see that little icon? Remember that, because this texture progress also uses that. So notice I don't see anything, and that's because because down here under textures there's 3 options, and we're going to use 2 of these. There's an over, an under, and a progress. The way this works is the under right here, this one renders first as your background, then your progress layer renders, which is, you know, like your green bar fill-in or whatever, and then your over renders, which would be on top of it. So like if you think about a game like Diablo or something, you've got the kind of glass that shines over the health bar or as it fills up. So that's really neat. We're not going to use the over, but it's really cool that it's here as an option. So let's go ahead and do this. I've already pre-created one of these images, and we will need to do the other. I don't see it here. So let's go and make sure. So to do this, I used paint.net. I don't see it either. Oh, here it is. Whew. Going crazy. Alright, I saved it as bar back horizontal. Maybe it's at the bottom of my list. Here. Nope. I do not see it at all in that list. Oh, here it is. Wow, it totally changed color. Oh, I know why. I know why. We're gonna have to redo it from scratch. Alright, let's delete that. Delete that import. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this again from scratch. So I'm gonna open paint.net. I'm gonna select all of my background and delete it. That's what I failed on before. So what happens is it creates a layer, or you could just leave it. It creates a layer by default that's white, and we don't want that white background. So we'll remove that in a second. It's going to make it easier to see things though. So here's my Kenny assets, and because I'm doing one of those 9 rect things, I need to combine my image into one image. So let's look at these guys individually. So if I look at bar back horizontal left, if I drag that in here, it's going to say add as a layer, and it's really small, so I go zoom in. And this is what it looks like. Now, if I turn off my background, it's actually transparent behind it, and it's just a little bit dark. But this is what it looks like. This is my empty progress bar. So that's, you can kind of envision an empty bar, and that's why it's just this dark color. And so what I need to do is combine this into one image. So let's grab the mid, drag it in, add that layer, scoot it over, there we go. And then the right, drag it in, add that layer, scoot it over. Now we see our full progress bar. And you'll notice it's really small. We're gonna deal with that in just a minute. So here's my layers. I'm gonna delete this layer, which is my white background, leaving me with just this. Another thing I need to do is I need to expand this selection. So I'm gonna start up here. I'm gonna go down, and I'm gonna just grab that stuff. Alright? And so then we'll go to image, crop to selection, and there is my image I want to save. Now if I go file, save as, and then in mine I had to dig for my user interface folder. You could also click here and do Control C to copy that, and then click here and do Control V to paste it, and that'll jump you right to your Adventure World folder. And you can get to that by going into this thing, right click here and do Show in File Folder, and it'll get you that. So there's some little shortcuts to get you around quickly. Alright, so I want to save this as bar back horizontal .png, and you can even pick the PNG here in this list and just save it with the defaults. And it's going to ask you about this flattening. What that means is PNG files don't support layers, so it's going to scrunch all these together. So there we go, and see my layers went away. And then here's my file right there. So let's go back to Godot, and there it is right there, where I expected it. Looks like I expected it, and that's what I should have done from the start. Alright, so let's pull that to under. Alright, there it is. There's our awesome progress bar, except it's really, really tiny. So what we're going to do is stretch it. So there's this 9 patch. If I pull this out, you'll see it won't stretch. If I turn this on, it's stretching. But you notice it stretches in a really weird looking way, and what's happening is it's uniformly stretching this whole image, and so that's why this part gets elongated. It's because we're stretching it out really far. But we've got these stretch margins, and this is where that 9, matter of fact, it has a tooltip about it. Width of 9 patch left column. So if we think about chopping this up into 9 sections, right? I think there's 2 lines across here and then 2 lines across here. What we want is these pixels to be in that. So I happen to look at my image and it has 9, and then I want the right, I want it to have 9 as well. And then the bottom and top I'm going to set to 8. See how that looks. Alright. So look at that. Now we've got these nice smooth corners, right? But we still have this huge progress bar. And if I shrink it down a little bit, it'll look a little bit more round. I do want it to kind of match with my things here. And you can adjust this by changing these numbers a little bit. So if I went down a couple, you might get a little bit more roundedness out of it. That's because it's changing that where those those corners end. Alright, so I think that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and make our other one, and we'll use this green because green kind of indicates fuel, right? So go here, we'll say new. We'll just leave the defaults. We don't need an image this big, but that's fine. We'll go to, let's see, Where is it? Green bar. Alright, horizontal left, drag that in, add layer, zoom way in. I'm zooming with the control and then my mouse wheel, by the way. And then add the mid bar, add layer, scoot it over, and then right, drag it in, add layer, scoot it over. That's why I like paint.net. It's very easy to use for this simple stuff like this. Delete that background layer, grab my selection, start here, make sure I just barely get those pixels in, and then we will image, crop to selection, and I'm done. Let me save this. I'm going to save, make sure I'm in the right folder, select the PNG, and we'll call this, except I'm going to delete that right. Save the defaults, flatten, I'm good. Jump back to Godot, now we've got this guy, and we'll drag that to progress. Now I don't see anything here, and the best way to show that is to go to value and just give yourself a default value of like 25. So that's what my progress bar is going to look like. I think we look looking pretty sharp. Kind of want to make sure it's centered. You could get fancy with your math there, but I think just eyeballing it is probably sufficient in this case. You could make the bar smaller if you wanted. To. Don't think it matters a whole lot. You could also do a vertical bar instead. So to change that, you would use your vertical images here, and then on your fill mode do bottom to top or top to bottom. Alright, so that's how that would work. Let's go ahead and change this to Jetpack fuel, and we'll leave the progress part on there. Alright, so let's jump back to our player, and we'll go into his script. Now we could manage the fuel from this HUD script if we wanted to, but I'm just going to access it directly in through the player. I think that'll be just easier. So what we need to do, this is actually pretty easy to do. We're going to update it every frame. So here we'll say if has jetpack, then we want to update it. So we don't need to update the fuel if he doesn't have a jetpack yet. So that's why we put the if statement in there. So we can say HUD canvas layer / jetpack fuel progress dot value equals, and then we're going to set this to whatever our jetpack fuel is. So there we go. That's all we had to do. Now, one thing we do want to do first, actually let's go ahead and test this and we'll see what happens. So when I pick this up, first I had that 25 value in there, which is fine. We shouldn't see that bar, but now you notice I'm at full jetpack, but why isn't my bar full? And that's because by default a progress bar here has a max value of 100, but our max fuel is only 10. So to fix that, what we can do is down here we could either go set it here. So I could set this to 10, that would be fine. However, I have this definition here of max fuel, and I want that to match what that HUD is. So if I ever change this, I wouldn't have to remember. So what I can do is right here, I can say jetpack fuel progress dot max value equals, and then we'll set that to jetpack max fuel. And the min value is 0, and I think that's fine for us. We could define that if we wanted to. It is nice that they let you set a min value, because if your range went into the negative numbers or something like that, or if you even a positive number, then you have control over that, which is fantastic. We could set the value to start off with. Shouldn't matter, because really what we want to do is hide that from showing until they get the pickup. So we could do that one of two ways. We could show it when they have the jetpack, and then we could hide it when they go into the water, because we don't want them to be able to use the jetpack in the water, I don't think. Because I don't think jetpacks work underwater. Let's go ahead and go with that. So we can do HUD canvas layer slash jetpack fuel progress dot hide. So that'll hide my jetpack fuel progress. Wait, this is not what I want to do. Show. And then I can hide it when he goes into the water. So if has jetpack, then let's grab this and hide. Okay, and so that should hide that progress bar when we go into the water. We could even hide it from his back if we wanted to. We'll look at that later, but for now I think this is fine. Okay, so let's try this out and see how it looks. So, why am I seeing a progress bar? I did not expect to see a progress bar. Ah, we never hide it. So up here, there we go. We'll hide it by default, and then it will show when our actor behavior hits this has jetpack. I'm almost feeling it's not worth the effort to hide it when you're in the water versus when it's here. So the way I would change this is I would just move this show into our pickup right here, and we could show it along with the jetpack sprite. So, and then I could just remove all this logic here and here, and it would work just fine. Alright, so no progress bar, but as soon as I pick it up, I've got a full progress bar, and then when I start flying, there it goes, there's using up my fuel, and as soon as it's empty, I can no longer fly. All I can do is jump. But then if I wait, it refills. Looks great, doesn't it? I'm pretty happy with the outcome of that. So this is the end of this video. Next video we will start doing the particle effects and cool effects for the jetpack to make him really feel like it's a jetpack and he's really using it. And that may take me a couple days because I want to prototype it out. I'm not as familiar with particle systems, and I want to make sure it looks pretty good for you guys. So look forward to that, and thanks for watching.